Hi guys, it's Dakota. So today I want to talk about spirit offerings. That's what I call them, spirit offerings. Um, and what I mean by that is offerings to deity, offerings to land spirits, offerings to Mother Earth, to the ancestors, to the Fae, anything that you work with, that you invoke, that you call in to help you with your magical working that you're doing. Or if you're doing a Sabbat, which for me personally, and there's the disclaimer, everything on my videos is personally, unless I say otherwise. Um, I don't do I really don't do spell work, magical work on a Sabbath. The Sabbaths for me are more of a gratitude, sometimes a devotional Sabbath ritual but most of the time it is a ritual of gratitude for what we have, what the ancestors taught us, the knowledge, the wisdom, all of that. And so it's not, even though that's not magical, it's not spell work, I'm not really asking them for help to do anything. I still give an offering. It is an offering of gratitude, whether it's I make a cake or I've mixed an incense. I've made an incense specifically for that particular Sabbath, or if it's a Sabbath where I actually work with a particular goddess that you would think of for that Sabbath. Maybe at Imbolc we might think of the goddess Bridget or Breed, however you like to call her. And so we might make something specifically for Breed, for Bridget. Um, but it can just be a general offering. It could just be an incense that you like. It could be a plate of whatever is growing at that particular time. Maybe bread, cakes, fruits, whatever it is at that particular time of year. You're just showing that you're grateful for that. So that's what I mean by spirit offerings. And so when you are doing your magical work or your spell work, at least for me, I am calling in whatever it is that I'm doing. I'm calling in those guides, whether it be deity or ancestors, etc. I'm invoking them. I'm calling them in. I'm asking for their help. I'm asking for their assistance. That I have this intention. This is my intention. This is my petition. This is what I need. This is what I'm asking for. And I would really like you to see fit that it comes to fruition. And for that, I have this for you. I offer you this. Now, I do that whether the petition comes to fruition or not, because, it may not be time for whatever it was that I asked for, whatever intention I had in mind that I asked for. It may not be time for that to happen for me right now. But that doesn't mean that it won't happen. And the least I can do is say, well, you know what, at least thank you for at least listening to me and considering it. And here's a gift. Thank you. So I leave an offering. Now, in my class, I teach in my Witchcraft 101 class. We very strongly teach the Witch's Pyramid, which I've mentioned in several of my videos, and plan on hearing that again in upcoming videos because that's what I use. I trust the Witch's Pyramid. It is the foundation of, along with Hermetics, it is the foundation of my spell work and my magical work, including my magical practice, period, my magical practice. And so the Witch's Pyramid, if you just think of a pyramid, the Egyptian pyramids, they have a foundation, they have a base. And then on that base, they build the walls. On that base, they build the walls. So you want to have a really strong foundation. And for me, that foundation is the history of it, the why of it, the what of it, the what is it. And then once we have that determined, then we can start to build walls that are structurally sound. Because now we have a knowing. We have a knowing of what it is that we're trying to do, why we're trying to do it, and what the consequences will be either way. Either way. Because if your petition does come to fruition, there's consequences. And that consequence is, yay, it came to fruition. And the consequences are you got what you want. You've left a really nice offering. Perhaps you want to leave another one because it did come to fruition. And, the consequences of it not happening are go back and might have to go back and redo your notes. Look through your notes. Did you cover everything in your notes? Is there something that you could change in your spell work? Was the timing right? There's 101 things that could be the reason why the spell, the magic, didn't come to fruition. That doesn't mean we get mad and go, oh, well, this is BS and, whatever, and walk away from it. I, for one, would be grateful because perhaps now is not the time for that to happen, because maybe now you think that that's the time for it to happen. It's what you want, but the universe says it's really not what you need. You're not ready for it yet. But if the universe went ahead and went, okay, here you go, and now you have it, and it could be that it doesn't serve your highest good in the end. It truly doesn't serve your highest good in the end. And that would be because maybe you didn't do your work. You didn't do your research. You didn't do, you got greedy. You got needy. You just wanted to take the easy road and not really give what it is that you're doing a whole lot of consideration. And you didn't think it out. You just didn't plan it out all the way. But even if you did, I have done some super heavy duty, long-term magic, spell work, whatever you want to call it, and had it not happen. And it can be disappointing. It can be. But I sit back with it. I sit with that for a minute and I think, I wonder why that didn't work. Who knows why it didn't work? Maybe it wasn't going to serve my highest good at that particular time. Maybe there was something in my magic that just didn't fit right. Where was the moon? Where were the planets? What was my mood? What was going on? Those kind of things. All of those things you have to take into consideration. So, so either way, whether it comes to fruition or it doesn't, we always want to consider giving an offering, leaving an offering of gratitude, of honor, of respect, of thanks, and it's really important. Now, I'm going to look at my notes here real quick, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. And so what I'm going to talk about is, and so I'm going to show you, I make these things and I call them spirit offerings. And I have seen videos on them and they're called something else. I have only ever seen a few or read a few books, blogs, videos on this particular thing, and on the spirit offering, and and I did it because it was fun, got to make something, and I love putting my energy into things. I love putting my energy into things, especially an offering, especially into my spell work. like I want to put 100%, 110%, 150% into it. My energy, that's what this is all about. It's about our energy. And so I thought this was kind of a fun thing to do, and I did it once for fun, and I liked it. It was fun, and but I have tweaked my recipe anyway over the years for various reasons, which I will talk about. Let me see. Now, one of the things that I've had students ask me or customers ask me, because it's no secret that I work with the ancestors, and I invoke the ancestors, and I do a lot of journey work with spirit and spirit guides, etc. And I have had students and customers, etc., ask me, "Isn't that scary?" Or you know. Why do you do that? Why would you want to do that? Well, one thing is our ancestors are full of knowledge. They're full of wisdom. They've been here, done that before. So I think they're quite worthy of my time to ask questions when I need to ask a question. I ask them to bring forth the knowledge and to bring forth the wisdom that will help further me in my practice, and to sort of help me evolve and take that next step and that next step and that next step. So therefore, I feel like, and I also feel, I'm just reading this, I also feel like the ancestors or the spirits, even if it's not your blood DNA ancestor, there really isn't anything, in my opinion, to be afraid of, because they've always, your parents, you, if you have children, you, your parents, their parents, your grandparents, their parents, down the road, down the road, down the road, only ever have your best interest in mind. I'm pretty sure that the majority of people out there that have children want the absolute very best for their children. Your parents wanted the absolute best for you. It may not have been your choice. You may not think that was the best for you. And I'm not getting into the abuse and the traumas and all of that. I am not talking about all of that. That is different. I am just talking about in general, just in general. Sometimes when we were outside, of course, in my day, outside playing, we didn't have the computers and all the games and all of that. We wanted to be outside in nature. And, you were told, hey, when that sun starts to go down, you better get your buns in here. And, you don't stay outside after dark. But you'd be so busy in the woods, climbing trees, and, finding cool and neat things, making little forts and everything. You didn't think about the time. And when you were late, there was a consequence. And, maybe the consequence was tomorrow you don't get to go out and play with your friends. And that was huge. That was huge. And I remember crying, can I please, 10 more minutes, 5 more minutes, just let me play. And it was, so anyway, our ancestors, I think that they always have, they want the best for us. They want us to succeed. And so I think that's what they're there for. When we contact them, I think that's what they're there for. So they're not creepy to me at all, and I have never ever, in 30 plus years, ever experienced anything that other than positive input. There have been times that I have not been a little that I have been uncomfortable a little bit with. Maybe if I was doing journey work, there might have been a guide or somebody that I was a little uncomfortable with. And guess what? You walk away. You say no, and you walk away. That's all you do. Um, so that has never been an issue for me, and I just, anyway, that's a whole other subject. But no, I am not afraid of them. I don't think they're creepy. And I work with the ancestors, and they get lots of offerings, as do deity, especially my goddess that I work with, my one specific goddess. Um, so these ancestors, they just hold so much knowledge and so much wisdom. So I want to encourage them to continue to come back and work with me. And how I do that is by not being greedy and not being needy, by saying, oh, please come and help me do such and such. And it happens, and you're like, oh, cool, I got this. And you don't give any thanks or gratitude. Be careful with that, because then there might not be a next time that you're so lucky that they work with you. Okay, so now I feel like I'm going to get ready here to show you. Let me pull my note down here. One of the things when we're talking about offerings, I'm going to show you this offering stuff that we're going to do. And, ooh, it's a little sticky. All right. It's kind of twofold. One is, an offering should really be something that is appropriate for whatever it is that you're working with. So if say you're working with an ancestor, maybe it's a great somebody, and you know that they liked, I don't know, maybe they smoked cigars, or maybe they liked whiskey, or maybe it was a grandmother that really was an enormous baker and she baked cakes all the time. Those are the types of things that you would give as an offering, some of the things that you could give as an offering. But we're going to talk about, when we do ritual, we do libations, and that is, or it's called cakes and ale. And ale is usually wine or mead, usually, in most cases that I know of. But here's the thing, when we take wine into consideration, and I am guilty as sin with this, guilty as sin, but I know this, and I understand it, and this is what I'm going to tell you. When we're having ritual, and I'm in charge of cakes and ale, I will go to the store, and I will buy a bottle of wine that is going to be for the ale. I have never made mead. It takes a while to make mead. It can be expensive to make mead, and I don't have the time to do that. Now that may sound like, well, then you need to make the time. I get that. I do. I get that, and I agree with that. However, sometimes when you are work full time and you have a family and you have other things going on, classes, all kinds of things, sometimes it just can't happen. So I'll go to the store and I will buy a bottle of wine. Now, I don't always go to the most expensive section of the wine department either. I buy a wine that I just feel is appropriate. If it's summer, maybe it's a sangria, fruity kind of wine, whatever. But some of the things that need to be taken into consideration is, where does that come from? Like what part of the country does that come from? Were the grapes organically grown, or were they sprayed with pesticides? So those are kind of some of the things that you need to consider when, if you are giving an offering of wine. I do know this, and I do take that into consideration, and my answer is no. I don't always buy organic wine. Sometimes it is not available to me, and so no, sometimes I don't, and I understand that, and I wish that I could always make a mead, make something from my own two hands, and that it could be organically, all organic and all of that. That would be the ultimate. However, sometimes that can't happen. Um, but the offering needs to be meaningful. And so, when I'm offering that wine as the offering, when I'm giving that as the offering, I give it with the most loving intention, and the asking of forgiveness that this was bought off of a shelf. I think that they know that, and I think that I've got to feel like it's okay. It may or may not be. I don't know, but I certainly hope that they understand, um, and we just go from there. Okay. So, what I want to so now I'm going to show you. Okay, and I'm going to tell you what my recipe is. You can find this on YouTube, and you can find this on in blogs and stuff. And they're called offering stones, but I make mine a little bit differently. So I will show you mine, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, so this is something that has to cook on a stove. I have already cooked it because I don't have access to a stove in the Witch Cottage. I'm on my work table right now, and I was going to do this in the house, but people, dogs, cats, too much. So I came out here. I already cooked it, but I'm going to go through the process. Okay, so let me get set up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so what I've done, like I said, I've already cooked this. And what this is cornmeal. It's really easy. It's cornmeal and warm water and oil. That's all it is. Now, some recipes I actually used a yellow cornmeal, and this is what you're going to do. You're going to use 2 cups of cornmeal. 2 cups of cornmeal. I keep my cornmeal, here's cornmeal, I keep mine in a double bagged zip bag because cornmeal can easily get bugs, little bugs in it, if you just leave it in its bag. So I always put mine in a double sealed Ziploc bag. Okay, so you're going to need 2 cups of cornmeal. Put them in your bowl. Then you're going to get 2 cups of warm, preferably distilled water. If you don't have distilled water, you can use a pure spring water. I prefer not tap water, but that's up to you. If you have a nice filter, that will be up to you. And then you're going to use 2 tablespoons. I got to use my cute spoon of 2 tablespoons, of oil. Now, I use olive oil. That's what I use. You can use other oils that you have, whether it's a corn oil or a safflower oil, something like that. You can use that. I just prefer to use olive oil. You can use a coconut oil too if you want, but I'm using olive oil. The main thing is you're going to want to use things that are environmentally friendly, because when I get done here, these things are going outside as an offering. They're either going to go, to your shrine, in your garden, out to the woods, or whatever. So you have to think of the environment. What things can be placed outside that will be environmentally friendly not just to the environment, but to the animals, the insects, etc. So cornmeal is really good to use. We use cornmeal to make our outdoor circles. Instead of salt, we like to use cornmeal, and we leave it because the critters love it. They will eat cornmeal, not cornstarch, cornmeal. It is safe for the critters, and it is also safe for the environment. Of course, mixing it with the 2 cups of water, that's safe. And then your oil, you're going to want to make sure that the oil you use is something that maybe is an organic oil, corn oil, olive oil. I like to use those. All right, now there are some recipes that call for salt. I do not use salt because one is I don't use salt in any of my own cooking. I don't like to salt things. And the other thing is salt is not good for animals. So it wouldn't make sense to me to make something that had salt in it that I'm going to put outdoors where an animal can eat this and then they're going to be consuming the salt also. And I don't like that idea. So I don't use salt. There's some other things that the recipes that I've seen recipes include, and I just don't. That's for if you're, I guess that's for if you're not going to just put it outside in your garden. I hope that they don't use all those things and then just put them out there, not thinking that the animals will get to them. Salt can kill your plants as well. So if you put that in your garden, there's a possibility that if it rains, the salt will drain from this, and that's going to melt down, and then the salt can get into your plants and the roots and stuff, and you don't want that. Okay, so you put it in your bowl. You put those 3 things in your bowl. 3 things. That's it. Cornmeal, water, and the oil. Put it in your bowl. Mix it all up until it's nice and smooth, and then you pour that into a cooking pot. You're going to put it on low, not high, low. Put it on low, and you're going to stir it while it's cooking. It's going to get thicker and thicker and thicker until eventually it gets like mashed potatoes, like oatmeal. It gets this consistency. Okay, mine is a little bit sticky. I didn't quite cook it long enough. It's a little bit sticky. It shouldn't stick to your hands. It should be kind of like Play-Doh or something where it's not really, sticking to your hands. But anyway, that's what it is. And once it gets to that point, remove it from the oven or from the stove, and I put mine back in the mixing bowl that I used. I love this bowl, stainless steel, easy to clean. And it is, I don't know what kind of bowl it is. But anyway, they're like $35. I got it at a yard sale for $1 because the guy was mad at his wife. So anyway, once you have the consistency that you want, okay, then you can take it out. All right, you can take it out of the bowl. We'll just take a little bit out. And then you can just squish it, play with it like you would Play-Doh, right? You can make whatever you want to make from it. I've seen people see it sticking a little bit. It shouldn't stick like that. If it gets too dry is the other thing. If you overcook it and it gets too dry, just add a little bit of water so that it gets back to this consistency. I have taken it before, flattened it out, and taken a cookie cutter and cut into it to make a design, and a designed cookie basically, and put that as an offering. Now, this doesn't look real appetizing, does it? Like, what's the big deal? All right, the other thing you can do is, but please listen to me, you can use essential oil. However, where are you putting it, and who is going to have access to that? Because essential oil, if perhaps an animal does eat this, I'm not quite sure about the essential oils. Should they be consuming that Or would they? Would they even consume it? I don't know. But you can use essential oil. So if you have an oil that you like, you can add a couple drops of oil in there. The other thing that we can add are herbs. So I have my lavender, which we know is safe for critters. So I'm just going to, oh gosh, that smells good. So I'm going to put a little bit of lavender in mine. This is nettle. Even if it's stinging nettle, it's all right. The bees like stinging nettle. So I'm going to put a pinch of nettle in there as an offering of love. These are rose petals. I'm going to, I think I'm going to save those for last. I'm going to show you something. But anyway, I've got jasmine. I know it's getting late. I got jasmine, and I'll put like just, a pinch of jasmine in there. And then I also, this is sweetgrass braid. If I can break it off, I can't, and I forgot my knife. Anyway, you can, I like to take a few pieces of the sweetgrass braid and sprinkle in there also for purification, etc. All right, and then I'm just going to take that. This is kind of big, so I'm going to break it in half here. And I'm just thinking about the gratitude, and I'm going to just, you can make it in any shape you want. Any shape you want. It can stay round. You can make hearts out of it. Whatever you want. And as you know, I'm not very creative, so I'm going to make a little heart. Because I said heart. Oh, look at cute. I'm going to make this little heart offering. And then I'm going to take the rose petals and just stick them in there. And that is it. Now, I can't pick this up now because it sticks to the thing. But that would be my, there we go. That would be my offering, my stone offering. I would let this dry. I will let this dry. Once it's dry, then you can put it out on your shrine, out in the woods, wherever you like to leave your offerings. You can make cute little ones for the fae, put them in your gardens, put them on your shrines, put it on your altar while you're doing your ritual or your spell work, and then put it out as an offering out to the universe. With the cornmeal and just the little tablespoon of oil and the safe herbs, that animals, it's okay to consume any of these. Don't put poisonous herbs in there. Like oleander is very poisonous to some animals. You don't want to use that. You can put it in water, so you can put it in a creek if you want, or the ocean. Is not going to hurt it. It's cornmeal. It's just going to dissolve. And so I'm going to let that dry, and then that will be a stone offering, or what I call a spirit offering. But it dries, and I think that's why they call it stone. That's it. It's really super easy. The only thing that I truly, truly want to just make sure that you understand is that you use ingredients that are environmentally friendly. I've seen a lot of recipes that call for things that I don't consider environmentally friendly. Stones. Stones are good if you just put them in your garden. The fae like them, whatever. Most animals are not going to eat a stone. They might pick it up and spit it out when they realize it's not tasty. You can put them in a creek, or you can throw them in the ocean because it's just going to sink and go down to the bottom. But anything that is metal, anything that is toxic, like I said, oleander is very toxic to some animals, like horses. It'll kill a horse. So just be environmental. Don't leave trash. Don't leave trash. And gosh, and that's it. That is so simple. But I wanted you to understand the why we do it. It's out of gratitude and it's out of love. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks, everybody. Bye.